Hello, my name is Dennis, and welcome to my trailer park white trash mobile home kitchen. I really do live in a mobile home, in a trailer park, and this is my kitchen. Today I'm going to be doing stuffed jumbo pasta shells. It seems like I'm going to put my apron on, and I think I'm going to use red today since I'm doing marinara. It seems like I'm doing an awful lot of pasta lately. But these are all requests that have come in through the website or through my YouTube channel. I'm not going to do the typical spinach, ricotta cheese stuffing, although I am going to use those ingredients. I'm going to ramp up the stuffing a little bit because I want to do man food. I'm going to put meat in it. I'm going to put in a little bit of anchovy. Don't let that scare you. It actually enhances the flavor a little bit without tasting like anchovies. And then I'm going to put in some artichoke hearts, chopped artichoke hearts. That'll give me a lot more flavor and body in my stuffing, and I'm going to make a lot. In fact, I'm going to make so much stuffing that I probably don't have enough of these jumbo shells, but I have some manicotti set aside. I'll stuff those as well, and then I'll put a lot of this in the freezer so that when my friends show up, I got friends coming down from Oregon this summer, I can just heat things up from the freezer, and what I'm planning is like a pasta sampler day where we're going to taste a lot of different pastas and sauces. So let's get into the ingredients I'm going to be using for making my stuffed pasta shells. The recipe that I started working from to get my ideas said to have one 16-ounce box, that's 454 grams, of jumbo pasta shells. I only have a 12-ounce box here, so that's why I also set aside some manicotti shells. Whatever stuffing I have left over, I'll use to stuff manicotti. 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 medium onion, that's about 5 ounces or 142 grams chopped, 1/2 pound, 227 grams of Italian sausage. I'm using mild sausages here. If you want to spice it up a little bit, you can use hot. 2 to 3 anchovy fillets, 6 ounces, 170 grams of artichoke hearts. I'll be chopping those up. 3 medium cloves of garlic to be minced. 1/2 teaspoon dry oregano flakes. 16 ounces, 454 grams of fresh spinach. 1 cup, 255 grams ricotta cheese. 1 large egg. 1/4 cup, 28 grams of grated Parmesan cheese. You can use Romano. I'm using Romano. Salt and pepper to taste. Optionally, if you want to spice this dish up a little bit more, you can add 3/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Then I have 2 cups, well, actually I have a jar, but I need about 2 cups, 475 milliliters of my marinara sauce. There's a recipe on the website for making marinara. I have 8 ounces, 227 grams of mozzarella cheese that I just cubed up. You can shred your mozzarella if you want. I don't have a shredder. And then for garnish, I have 3 to 4 leaves of fresh basil that I am going to be cutting into a chiffonade. Alternately, you could use parsley leaves, Italian parsley, and chop those fine for garnish. So those are the ingredients I'm using today. I've got a large skillet heating over medium-high heat here. I'm going to pour a few tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in there. And then put in my onions. And I want to caramelize these by cooking them down to the point where they start, well, turn into a really good golden color. I'm going to start off with medium-high heat, and as the moisture cooks out of these onions and they start to change color, I'll be turning my heat down little by little. Toward the end, I'll be cooking these over medium-low heat. To fully caramelize these will probably take, I would say, good 10 to 15 minutes. I might even go 20 to get these as dark as I want. I've got my onions where I want them. So there's my sausage meat. I took the meat out of the casings. Turn my heat up here to medium-high again. And I'm just going to cook this sausage meat, maybe lightly brown it. It's only going to take a few minutes. So there's my sausage now, lightly browned. I'm adding my anchovy fillets. Those will break up very quickly. I learned to love working with anchovy fillets by watching on DVD that TV series from the BBC, Two Fat Ladies. Clarissa and Jennifer loved working with anchovies, so those just dissolve pretty much right in. There's my artichoke hearts that I've chopped up. I ran my garlic through a garlic press. And finally, there's my oregano flakes. And I'm going to just cook these for only about 1 minute. Mostly what I want to do is just kind of dry out the artichoke hearts. The artichoke hearts were packed in a jar with vinegar, water, and oil. So I took them out of the jar, what I needed, and put them in a bowl of water and set them in the refrigerator overnight to just kind of dissolve off some of that vinegar flavor, because I don't want vinegar flavor in this. I just want the artichoke hearts to flavor this. Isn't that looking beautiful? I removed the meat from the pan, gave that pan a quick clean, and I've been heating a little bit of water in there, a few tablespoons. Now I'm going to steam my spinach. Okay, I guess I got all that in there. Put a cover on that. I'm going to turn my heat down to medium low. I'm going to steam that for 1 minute, and then with tongs I'm going to turn it and then steam it again, and that'll really reduce that, wilt that down a lot. All right, so I'm turning that lid away from the camera lens so that I won't fog it like I did one other time. So there's my spinach, nicely wilted down. That only took a few minutes, a couple minutes actually. You can see I left the stems on there. Normally I would pluck all the stems off in advance if I were using spinach for a salad or something, but I'm going to chop all this up, so I don't care about the stems. It'll just add more roughage. So I've got a colander in the sink. I'm going to move this spinach to the sink. I'm not really so much concerned about it draining, although there is some moisture in there that has to drain off. Mostly I want to cool this down so that I can handle it. I'm going to be squeezing extra moisture out of this. Okay, pull my sleeves up a little bit here. My spinach has cooled down to the point where it's still warm, but it's not too hot to handle. And I'm squeezing this spinach to get the water out. I know there are people out there who think, oh, you're squeezing out all the nutrients. Well, yeah, but I'm not making health food. I'm making stuffed pasta shells. Okay, so that finishes my spinach. Drain the last of my colander there. You can see all the nutrients that I squeezed out of that spinach. So there's my spinach. Gonna give this a decent chop because this is gonna go into stuffed pasta shells, not a big pie shell. And therefore I want this broken up kind of small. Okay, that's good enough. And there's my chopped spinach, and I think I'm pretty near ready to start assembling my stuffing. Okay, I am ready here to start combining my stuffing ingredients. There's my meat mixture, the delicious aroma of which has been wafting around my kitchen while I've been cooking. And I've been salivating like Pavlov's dog as a result. My spinach, ricotta, Romano cheese. Again, you can use Romano or Parmesan. This is my mozzarella. I'm not going to put all of this in. I'm going to put about a third of this into my stuffing. The rest I'm going to be using for garnishing my shells before I put them in the oven. Some salt. I'm going to maybe use a half a teaspoon of salt here. Grate some freshly ground black pepper in there. And then, as I always do, spinach, I almost have a knee-jerk reaction to spinach. It always makes me want to reach for the nutmeg, so I'm going to add some freshly ground nutmeg to this using my nutmeg grater. I'll add this ingredient when I put the PDF on the website. Fresh ground nutmeg just seems to belong in anything containing spinach. Okay, that looks pretty decent. That's mixed well enough. At this point, I can taste it for salt. So I have my tasting spoon here. I'm going to add a little more salt to that. Maybe at the most 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then I can put my egg in there. I didn't want to taste it with the raw egg. Break that up. And then get this all well mixed together, and then my stuffing will be done and I can start cooking my shells. I have in the meantime been heating water in a large pot on the stove, heating it to boiling so I can cook my shells next. So I've stacked my basil up, one leaf on top of the other, using the largest leaf on the bottom. I'm just going to kind of roll this up like a cigar, and then I'm going to use my ceramic knife here because basil turns a dark color when it comes into contact. I believe it's with iron in a steel knife, whereas it'll maintain a nice green color if you use a ceramic knife. So I'm just cutting this into little thin slices here through the cigar. I think of chiffonade as being little threads and julienne as little strings. That's close enough. I'm getting down to the stem end there. So there's some chiffonade. I got some more of this to do, and I'm going to be using that for garnish. Here are my cooked pasta shells. I coated a pan here with some sauce. I'm going to put my stuffing in there. I counted the number of pasta shells before I put them in the pan, and there were 42. So I might actually have more shells than I can fill here, which is okay because some of the pasta shells tore because they stuck to the bottom of the pot as they were cooking. Okay, here's my last shell. I actually have more shells in the colander there. I only ended up with, what's that, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 shells. That's enough to easily feed 3 to 4 people. No, not 3 to 4. Am I saying 6 to 8? 6 to 8 people. Okay, so then what I want to do is I want to cover these with sauce. And my oven is heated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 centigrade. And I'm going to bake these 20-25 minutes until they're heated all the way through. I forgot to do one thing before I put this in the oven, and that is to garnish it with the rest of my mozzarella cheese here. I measured my sauce, by the way, and that jar contained 3 cups of sauce, not 2, and I pretty near used the whole jar. So I'm going to up the volume of the sauce to 3 cups, and I'm going to reduce the pasta shells down to about 6 to 8 ounces, and or say
25 to 30 shells. This gets baked uncovered. So there it is, just coming out of the oven. I felt like I wanted to brown some of this cheese a little bit. It was melted, but it wasn't browned. So I put it under the broiler for a couple of minutes, watching it very closely. Now I'm ready to plate this and see how good it tastes. Just like that. Okay. Spoon a little bit of my sauce over the top. There's sauce in the bottom of the... Pull some of it onto the plate. Like so. And then just put a little bit of chiffonade basil over the top and around the side of the plate. And there it is. Okay, there is my stuffed shell. See what this tastes like. Oh my goodness, that is very nice. I want a big piece with a lot of stuffing here. Oh, it's cheesy. See, I can taste the Italian sausage in there, but I can always also taste those artichoke hearts, which I think add so much more flavor. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is excellent. So there they are, stuffed shells. Again, I forget who requested them. This request came in over the website, but there you are. As for me, I'm going to go enjoy my lunch.
For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit the White Trash Cooking website and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.